Hello there guys, welcome back to Younes Talks Football. I hope all of you are doing well today as we dive into the match review. I'm deflated, I'll be honest, because I think today brought a sense of realism for what the actual situation is saying right now. And what I mean by that is, we said prior to this game, Brentford, the way we let that go, that was on us. Bayern Munich, the way we let that go, that was on us. Today, again, and this time in a catastrophic sense, we let that go, and that was only on us. It's just, that's why it's deflating. Because you can have all the quality that you want in the squad, and you can have all the players that can actually get you things going. Like I believe we actually have, compared to last season, we have a better squad. We have better quality. But what use is it when you shoot yourselves in the feet continuously every week, you know? And today was the epitome of that. Because Brentford, we gave it a real good go into the last minute and then we let it slip with one poor mistake. You can say that happens. Bayern Munich, you know, we were naive in just a few moments where you get killed against teams like Bayern Munich because maybe you were naive, and you can say that can happen. But 4 minutes into this Man United game, against this Man United team, where Sanchez decides to go on an onslaught and decides to try and decapitate, right, the opposition, for no reason whatsoever. He takes out Mbuemo in a sense of why? Just to try and not get him to score? Well, he's past the defenders. Just make yourself big. No one's going to blame you if you've made yourself big and he gets around you or he taps it under your legs or whatever. No one's going to turn to Sanchez and say, he was the reason, because you had no other possible solution in that scenario. The defenders with Fofana and Chalobah and what they did in that minute was an issue. But Sanchez decides to just throw it all away by going in with a flipping Street Fighter kick straight into Mbuemo. It's like, why? We go down to 10 men. Immediately at a disadvantage. And like a lot of people in the shootout chat, big up to every single one of you that were there, were saying it wouldn't have been the end of the world if Man United went 1-0 up and we still had 11 men on the pitch. Chances are we'd have come back and won. But we go down to 10. And then this is where things divert from Sanchez to the manager. Because from that moment, Maresca capitulated. Maresca capitulated here. I have to be honest. He blew it. And how did he blow it? He blew it by taking off, sacrificing Esteval, which was the wrong thing to do. Realistically, if you have to sacrifice someone right now, it's probably Pedro Neto, because he's actually played a lot of minutes. Esteval was the guy that we needed in this game to cause havoc. But that's not even the thing I can say right now. Because he took off Esteval to bring on Jorgensen as a sacrifice. Cool. You can even understand it from the lens of he took off the 18-year-old. It's a sacrifice. You got to sacrifice someone. Thank you, Sanchez. Fair enough. And then he decides to go on a trip. As far as I'm concerned, Maresca decides to go tripping. Actually, you know what? I got to do it justice. Because I need to bring up even the minutes that he decided to make these decisions in, because it didn't make any sense whatsoever. It didn't make any sense. He took off Esteval William for Jorgensen. Cool. 1 minute later, he brings on Tosin for Pedro Neto. The guy that I just said, all right, if you're going to sacrifice someone, sacrifice Pedro Neto, no problem. He decides to take off Pedro Neto to bring on a defender. We're down to 10 men, 1-0 down, and you do that. So now we've got 2 wingers that have been brought off. 10, 15 minutes later, at one point during the watch long, I thought Maresca was on suicide watch. But he takes off Cole Palmer. Now, we learned that Cole Palmer was pointing to his groin. And he went straight down the tunnel when he was coming off. So we're guessing he's got a groin problem. This is what you got to anticipate for. You never know what can happen. So tell me, why are you bringing on Tosin for Pedro Neto? We're 1-0 down with 10 men. Why? If anything, you want to bring on Tosin, take off Fofana. Because clearly he was limping during the game. He shouldn't have even started. So that's another one. But we were immediately handicapped by Maresca's decision. Now, without Cole Palmer on the pitch, he brings on Andre Santos. Instead of going to an actual attacker, he tries to add an extra midfielder. But then later on, when we do actually get back into the game, why? Because Man United, despite scoring the 2 goals, they were in a position where they went down to 10 men. So now it's 10v10. Now it's an even playing field. And now we're thinking, oh, because prior to that, we were getting run rings round us. We were getting bopped around like it was nothing. United were having fun. So much so, look at the quality of the goals. Just really, really poor. Really poor. The first goal, Bruno Fernandes, just open. The second goal of Casemiro, no one's even with him. We're a man down, extra space. What can you do? But instead of taking the initiative to go and put United on the back foot, because you know that's what you have to do. If not, they've got the space to work into. Maresca just decided to go ultra defensive and just try and protect the damage limitation. I don't get it. But then Casemiro gets sent off. He gets sent off. Cool. Then what? It's 10v10. Now we've got something to play for. Okay. When we get into the second half, we make substitutions. We were all screaming for, okay, we have a chance now, because it's 10 men versus 10, to put Man United on the back foot. Why? Because man for man, in terms of the quality of the squad, the quality of the teams, we got a better team than them. And no one can debate that. We got a better team than them. If we decide to go man for man with them, we're better than them. So take the initiative. It's 10v10. They haven't got extra space to work into. Put them on the back foot. Put them on the back foot. We didn't do that. We're all looking and going, okay, look, we've got enough defenders on the pitch. Take off a couple of them, go attacking and take the game to put them on the back foot. Bring on Garnacho. Some people are even saying bring on Gittins. Bring on Mark Gu if you want an extra striker. We decide to bring on Tyreek George to take off Fofana, and we bring on Malo Gusto to take off Cucurella. Someone explain that to me, please. Explain that to me. Now, to say Gusto had an actual decent impact in the game, but we didn't need defenders. Cucurella was good where he was. We didn't need to take him off. It was a waste of a sub, because Cucurella is an attacking threat. Same goes for Reece James on the other side. When we go forward, we need a Garnacho to add some creativity, add some prowess, add some pressure. And he's got a point to prove. We bring on Tyreek George. We all know Tyreek George isn't going to have an impact in this sort of game of this magnitude. He just isn't. He realistically shouldn't even be here. He should be in Fulham. Now, that's not to say Tyreek George. I'm saying in terms of what Chelsea wanted to do, we were about to sell him on deadline day. That didn't go through. But we got Garnacho in, we got Gittins in, spent that much money to keep them on the bench in a game where we needed to bring them on. Garnacho specifically, Gittins I can understand. But even then, it would be only fair to listen to the people that have criticisms and say, why did we spend money on Gittins and even Garnacho at this point, if he's not coming on in this sort of game, when we could have bought an actual top defender? It's a fair point. You can't argue with that. Why bring on Tyreek George? Just bring on Garnacho. He has a point to prove, especially against Man United at Old Trafford. Why? Nothing made sense. Nothing made sense. João Pedro today was up there by himself trying to do everything, run 4 or 5 jobs at the same time. I give credit to him. I give credit to him for really, really trying. We get a goal, funnily enough, even with that. Reece James, ball into the box. Trevor Chalobah, beautiful header. We've got something to fight for. Now, I believe if we have the right attackers on the pitch, we would have actually got something from this, even if it was a draw. The truth of the matter is, with the amount of mistakes that we made today, with everything that we just threw in the bin, and United only won 2-1. They should have won 5 or 6 today, and they didn't. Why? Because they have not got the quality. We have the quality that we didn't use, and once again, we sabotaged ourselves. Now, I do want to say there were decisions there that I have to highlight. The penalty shout, when he goes in for the tackle, you can see the ball is grazed. Some would say by the letter of the law, the ball was touched. It's not a penalty. Okay, I'll say okay. Okay, cool. So if we're talking in terms of letter of the law, we're talking in terms of those fine margins, yeah? We're talking in terms of the rule book. We want to get out page 1, 2, 3, page 65, rule A, verse B, right? That says this certain rule and this certain rule. Cool, let's do that then. Why was their first goal counted? If the ball that comes in with Chalobah and Bruno Fernandes behind him, Chalobah keeps him onside because of his leg. Cool. What about the United player that was right in front of Chalobah that dedicated himself to the action? He participated. He went for the ball. He was hindering Chalobah at that moment. Why is that not an offside? Because he was offside. The rules clearly state, and I've showed you this not long ago when we were talking about this last week. The rules say if someone is participating in the play, they are involved in the action, and it hinders whoever is involved in the action as well, it's an offside. It's an offside. And that player is in offside position, it's an offside. Even if they don't touch the ball, they are involved in the play. It's an offside. He went for the ball. He was fighting Chalobah. But it's funny, when it goes to VAR, they don't show that extra United player. They show Chalobah and Bruno Fernandes with his leg keeping Bruno onside because Bruno was the one that scored. Well, if that's the case, change the rules. Change the rules. Go and change the rules. The rules does not say that. So what are we doing? This whole argument from the PGMOL that it's subjective, the rules don't say that. Go and read your own rule book. If that's the case, I'm making the case now. Change the rules. So what are we doing? Complete inconsistency. So if we're going to talk about fine margins for that tackle that was made where it wasn't a penalty for us because the ball was touched, just that little bit, it was grazed. It didn't even change the direction of the ball, but the player got brought down. Cool, you want to make that case? The ball was touched, the ball was played? Okay, that should have been offside then, because the rules say so. You can't have it one way or the other. Let's be fair. So there's that on top of it. That's an extra little spice. But there's one thing that I want to focus on here, because Maresca bottled it today, big time. But we also need to look at ourselves, because we have that ambition to go and win the title. We're not going to do it like this. We have quality. We have players that can play. We have ballers. But when you're letting go against Brentford in the way that we did, you let go against Bayern Munich because you're that naive in the way that you did. And then we go and you go, you know what, there's no excuse against Man United. Cool, there's no excuse. Then we have the Man United game, and then we throw it away like this because of some nonsensical goalkeeper decision, because of some nonsensical managerial substitutions, because of things that just didn't make any sense. We ain't going to go anywhere. You could have all the quality in the world, but you are shooting yourselves in the feet. Simple as that. So everything goes to waste. I like the team we have. I like the squad we have. I like the players that we have. Not all of them, I believe, are at the level. But we have what it takes if we're serious to go and push seriously. It's no use when you're making mistakes like this because of, technically, your mental game. We weren't concentrating against Brentford. We let that go. We weren't concentrating. We were naive against Bayern Munich. We let that go. We threw it away because of a stupid challenge that shouldn't have been made today against United. And then Maresca decides to go into ultra hibernation mode and think, I want to play safe. I don't want to risk it. You ain't gonna go. We're not gonna do anything like this. This needs to change. And I want to make one more point. At Cobham, it says something about win the next trophy. The next trophy, the next is the most important. When you got the mentality of letting things go in the way that we did just now, what use is that? It becomes writing on the wall. You got to really have it in it. That's the most important thing. So Chelsea have to wake up. Wake up. We're already 7 points behind Liverpool. Already playing catch up. And it's not even the other teams doing. It's us. We've self-inflicted it. It's our fault. That's all I have to say. But today, Sanchez was a clown. Let it go completely. Absolute maniac. But what really cost us the game after that? Maresca. Very, very poor. For someone that wants to compete at the highest level, those are not the substitutions or the risk-taking that you do. Well, lack of risk-taking, should I say, because you want to play safe against this United team. I would understand to a degree if it's Liverpool, if it's Arsenal, even if it's City. This United team were there for the taking, like I said, with all the mistakes that were made today, and they only won 2-1. They should have won 5, and they didn't. Why? Because they're not that good. Credit to them because they took advantage of the situation today. They absolutely did what they had to do. But they didn't show how lethal they are because they're not. But we gave it on a plate for them. And that means we have to look at ourselves. Again, not good enough. Let me know your thoughts, people. Much appreciated. Thank you to everyone that watched the watch along on Shootout. We got the watch along for Arsenal City tomorrow as well. Make sure you're there for that. And make sure you're here for the content. There'll be a double upload tomorrow where I'm sure we go into more detail. So I'll catch all of you then. Subscribe, notification bell on, and I'll catch you tomorrow. In a bit, people. Look after yourselves. Let me know what you think in the comments. And peace.